Conversations with the ego wielding? You're using these words like you know the answer, when the answer can be moved around, arbitrarily. You can say intelligence really is just the ability to be aware, independent of any reasoning. You can say reasoning is the intelligence. Either way, you're just playing word games. Your denial that the meaning you impose is really just your emotions shows to me that you are not ready to take this conversation forward. I'm not looking for an argument. I'm looking for an open conversation. People who have premises they aren't willing to abandon, when they become undone, have proven, to me, that they have ulterior motivations. I don't care to aid those. What you project with your emotions is just your projection. What you call meaning is arbitrary. It doesn't give meaning to say meaning. That's just a word, as are all these words. When it comes to describing the thing itself, it cannot be done through words, such as with the point. A line can be described as a series of points, but a point can only be described through the experience of itself, alone. That's what consciousness is. That's the meaning. It is its own point, so to speak, but not in the way that logic understands. It is independent of reason. And as I say, the universe is independent of reason, not observation. When you look at it, it's the universe. When you don't, there's nothing to say, it's still there. The narrative has been backwards for many decades. I seek to change that. Implying I am simple-minded is actually not true because I think in clusters and know a fair deal about logical deduction. It's actually what's brought me here in the first place. Every premise begins with an assumption. Want to know what the biggest of them all is? Existence, i.e., independence of observation. You cannot prove or disprove it, so give up on speculating, because it is a futile endeavor, subject to the realm of belief, and if all you are doing is believing, then fine. You are allowed to do that, but at least see that for what it is, instead of playing this conniving little game you're displaying here, with psychological defense mechanisms. What is logic's purpose? If I was to say anything, it is about curiosity and fear of the unknown. It seeks to find what's next, because of those emotions, so you are partly on track there, but that's another narrative, ultimately. Everything boils down to nothingness in the realm of linguistics. So you are not a nihilist, just admit that. You have beliefs, one of them being, you create your own meaning.
I am saying that whatever is outside the context is unknowable until it is a part of the context. You cannot know what you cannot know. As for whether the contents of my imagination really exist outside of my imagination, in some three-dimensional space, there's no way to prove or disprove that either. It's basically the God dilemma. You just cannot know, for sure, but likewise, you can know what you can know, as well, and what we can know is that there is no apparent meaning, beyond the thing itself, which is not directly describable through words. Take a point for example, you cannot describe a point other than using points, but you can describe a line, by saying, it's a series of points.
My conscious stream, monologuing, unfiltered, as it usually does, my mind rarely rests, and I stay awake for hours, half asleep, dreaming, even, thinking, on others' planes, this plane, etc., thinking of the past, metaphysics, metacognition, etc. Does the emotion always come before the thought or vice versa? That's a good question. I really don't know. If so, what does that mean? To state something as unconscious almost makes it seem like an independence of observation, does it not? Notice how I say feeling of familiarity. Well, what came first, the feeling or that sentence? Regardless, when something feels familiar, it reminds us of something, and it's not always about the thing itself we are observing, and sometimes, we can imagine events. But when we have déjà vu, does this feeling always require a thought to kindle it? Perhaps not, and then, maybe we can just look at that feeling for what it is, a feeling, ultimately, not philosophical, indubitable treatise, thesis, etc.